What is up, fanatics? It's 8 p.m. Mountain Time on a Tuesday, so that means another episode of Home Theater Fanatics Live. Tonight, I'm joined by the venerable Bass Therapy and the unredoubtable HiFi Turtle. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. What's up, everyone?
What's up, guys?
So, for all the folks that had seen some of the earlier advertisements for the episode where I said Modulus was going to join us tonight, well, they're not here.
So he came to save the day.
Yeah, that's right. They bailed out at the last minute due to some type of emergency. Jeez, right? But we got Bass Therapy and we got HiFi Turtle. And also I sent out the link about 30 seconds before we started to a handful of other people just to see if anybody super last minute would also be interested in joining. So we might have other people pop in, you know, kind of crazy stuff going, I don't know. And if anybody out there wants to join, I mean, we're just going nuts tonight. This is going to be wildfire, just crazy. But
Director's cut.
No, this is like the unedited.
Oh, yeah, this is the uncut. This is the uncut.
Remove all the companies from this.
Yeah, it's completely unscripted. Yeah,
Oh,
unscripted. And maybe it's improv, right? And so we're going to talk about all kinds of weird stuff. But, you know, I guess the bigger theme tonight is just answering some questions about hi-fi and talking about things that are of interest to people, right? And I've had a number of technical questions come up that people ask, and some are pretty common. But you know, that's kind of I guess the goal for tonight is to answer some of these questions. And, you know, maybe we can even touch on some of the controversial things to a light degree, just to, you know, so I can see where Bass Therapy and HiFi Turtle kind of hang out on some of these ideas. And I'd be interested to hear what other people out and about think about this stuff too, right? But I'm going to start with a technical question that got posed to me today. And you know, I got a buddy, and he bought a couple of big subwoofers, right, for his home theater, and he doesn't have an external DSP processing unit, and he doesn't have any DSP in his amplification. So, and he's running ported subs. So his question was, do I really need a high pass filter on my subs, right? And you know, I guess the first thing is, you know, why would you put the high pass filter on these things anyway, right? So people with these big subs, they'll put a high pass filter in like at 18 hertz or something like that. And high pass means it lets the higher frequencies pass, and then the lower stuff gets knocked out. And the whole point is just to protect those subs from, you know, the infrasonics, because on a bass reflex design, as you go under port tuning, you don't have any back pressure really inside the box anymore, so they just unload and flap, and you can throw them past X max and blow them up and that kind of stuff. So do you want it? Sure. Do you have to have it? I would say that if you're not going to go nuts with stuff, maybe not. I don't know. Bass Therapy or Turtle, any thoughts around this?
Like, I use a sub, and for you to blow them up, you need a lot of power and a lot of volume. So if you really need that DSP, you're probably cranking them up all the way, because or else a subwoofer is just moving a little bit and it can fill up the whole room. They don't need to move a lot like speakers.
I think
That's
it is
my
more of
opinion.
a use question, because if you're using it for because a lot of music doesn't have subsonic frequencies, at all for the most part. And if it does, it's minimal at best. But the movies, you get a lot of hits, you get a lot of kind of one-time punches and all that kind of stuff, gunfire, and I feel like that it sometimes, or just like building shaking, stuff like that can might be more damaging than music.
Yeah, it's obviously it's for that sub port tuning frequency kind of stuff, right? So I and then to address bass therapy's point about what are they listening to, it's these subs are they have movement about like this or more, right? I mean they really get after it. So I would say that the safe move is for him to go out and buy the mini DSP or whatever else tool he wants to and put that high pass filter on there so that he can turn these things up and shoot for that 115 decibels or whatever he's looking for, that reference level, without the concerns of blowing those subs up. Now I'm guilty of running subs and pushing them pretty hard without any type of high pass filter to knock out that stuff that blows them up down under 20 hertz. But man, that's a lot of investment that you could be going wrong with. So I would,
especially learning about it, right? Because it takes a while to get the DSP software going and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole different kind of conversation. So what's up, High Finest 343? I like that.
What's
High
up?
Finest. High Finest. So we've got a question from Henry 47. If I'm using the Amiibo soundbar, would an 18-inch subwoofer be too much? Would it? So the question is, it mushy or too much? Right? I guess it could be mushy if it's like a really crappy subwoofer, but I think we mean too much. The short answer is no.
It's never too much.
Does anybody know what an Amiibo soundbar is?
Yeah, it's the Sennheiser soundbar. It's got. I don't think Sennheiser makes it anymore. I think they discontinued it, but they did have a very small entry into the soundbar market.
Right.
Well, it has like 30 speakers or something in it.
In general, I like Sennheiser stuff. So I think this question, I know it's kind of tongue in cheek, right? But I think this really comes down to matching subs to speakers, right? And you can think about this from a home theater point of view. You can think about this in a hi-fi 2-channel point of view. And your mids or whatever your tops, if you want to think about pro world, everything except your subs can play so low, right? And then your subs can play so high, and you want to have enough overlap between the two so that you can cross over between them and have things smoothly hand off from one speaker to another. So I think you need to look at the capabilities of that soundbar to see if it plays down low enough in the 18 that you're interested in, if it'll play up high enough. Guys, any other thoughts around that one?
Nope.
No, got nothing
there. No, right on. So I guess short answer is you could totally match an 18-inch sub to a soundbar if you wanted to. And I would cheer, and I would want to see photos.
Same.
I mean, I think that would be pretty badass. New York Grasshopper. Hey,
sup?
You're welcome to jump in if you'd like to. We're fielding questions right now from folks. So, High Finest 343. Who's going to run through a tutorial for MultiEQX to achieve sonic nirvana? The use of dynamic EQ and a second order shelf, maybe too much bass, but no shelf feels not enough bass. Help. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on in there. Do you guys want to take a shot, or you want me to go for it?
You go for it. I'll take the bottom one right there.
All right.
I don't really know what MultiEQX really is.
Same.
So that's one of the tuning algorithms used in AVR for a home theater setup. So dynamic, in general, I don't really like anything that says the word dynamic. And then a second order shelf, that's like I think a 18 decibel roll off crossover. So high finest 343, can you give a little more information about what you've got in your system so I can kind of know what you've got going on? It's kind of hard to answer that question without a little more detail. So maybe you can talk about your equipment a bit and we can come back to that, because we're going to throw this one up from the bucket of wisdom.
Yeah, I'll answer that one.
Yeah,
So this is the question that I had, because I was looking into receivers because they produce more power. But a thing I found out is that receivers have a lot more noise to them, and it's actually, you can actually hear when you like 2.1, 2.0, 2.0 systems. You need an integrated, or like a separate, a power amp, something separated from it, because receivers produce a lot of noise, and they're not the most accurate in my opinion for music, but for movies they're fine. That's what I see.
Right on.
And I learned.
Right on. Ray, what do you think? Any thoughts there?
I mean, I think you can go up the, the amp ladder and, continually get quality. I'm not sure if the question is exactly, is the Denon all you need, or, is it worth it at all to spend over $1,000 on an integrated amp? I mean, in that case, I would say absolutely. I think, amps do have a certain quality to them where you spend a little more money, you do get a lot out of them. And I think there is, for music especially, more to it than just a Denon receiver. Not that a Denon receiver can't sound good, but there is more to it beyond the Denon receiver.
Yeah, I'll agree with both you guys. So it sounds to be like he's referring to like a 2.1 system or a 2-channel system. And he's like, can I just go cheap Denon receiver? And probably looking at something used, right? Because, there's a ton of them out there that don't have any of the kind of new technology in them, but, they're basically just an amplifier that you can just say, play it in 2-channel, right? And if you want to cross it over, it'll do a crossover into 2.1. And that's okay and all, but I found that from a audio quality point of view, when you're talking 2-channel, my experiences have been less than stellar with the lower end AVR equipment as compared to even a lower end entry integrated for 2-channel listening. So if you're doing 2-channel listening, I would absolutely skew toward, let's get a purpose built integrated amplifier, or go complete separates with a preamp and amplifier like Dan was saying.
Or get like an SMSL amp, the SU9, $250, super clean. If you want cheaper, $250, you're done.
Yeah, I've actually got the new SMSL stuff coming in to do a review on, like the DA something and the DO. I forget the model numbers, but I'm gonna check those out.
Don't get Topping though. Topping had a lot of problems with quality and stuff. I had 2 amps of them die on me, so
really
don't get them.
I've got a Topping E30 DAC, and
DACs are good. The problem is their amps.
I've never had one of their amps.
Yeah, I've seen some negative feedback about the amps because they're chasing, this extreme Synad response.
Oh God.
To try to get the ASR fanfare, and it seems like their amps are just like burning out after so many hours, and they got a new one that I think is pushing like 100 watts now, and it's still got that super like low or high Synad score.
Right.
And people are saying like, and also it's kind of weird because the wattage rating they put on it, they rate that wattage rating at like 10% THD. Yeah, which is like super duper high because most people rate it at 1%.
Yeah, 10% is too much. I think for ratings 1% or under, I think is totally fine. Some people will go down like 0.1% or 0.2, and then some people are like, oh, I'll do it at 0.9, so it sounds better than 1%. But I think 1% ratings and under are totally fine. But yeah, that Synad rate measurement stuff, that's just like, I always liken it to, okay, we're going to compare these two cars, and this car can go 212 miles per hour, and this other car can go 211 miles per hour. And so the 212 is obviously better, but you only drive 65 miles per hour ever. So sure, you're way over here on the edge arguing about some tiny little decibels of difference, but it's so far outside of the realm of your audibility anyway that it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded.
People don't even push their systems like we do, I think. Most audiophiles listen to it super quiet. I blast the crap out of my stuff. So when an amplifier
you're
has
too loud.
noise, I hear it. It's like these, the Class A, when they're maxed out, I can hear the noise. So I have to lower the volume down so it's unhearable. But like if you're listening to lower volumes, even cheaper amplifiers can perform really well. So I don't know where they're pushing. I don't know. It's just BS in my opinion.
I believe that. I'm telling you, when Daniel was here and he's like, dang, what's the loudest you ever gone with these speakers? And I'm like, right now with you in here, because you're like wanting it louder and louder and louder.
And I bet you were all like, we've hit the limit. No more.
Nah, I got him to push his speakers.
No,
God,
Yeah, bro, he got freaking full cows. They weren't even, the drivers weren't even moving.
When I do the videos for him, I put on like literally the like 35 dB reduction like safety headphones that like you're supposed to like have for like guns and like explosions and chainsaws and stuff. Like I put that on him.
You got to protect this asset. You know what I mean? And it'll go faster than you can imagine because, I've lost probably a few thousand.
I'm going to be honest. No, I'm not going to be honest. Relax. We'll talk to you guys later. I'll talk to you guys later.
Daniel's like, I've been deaf for 5 years now.
No, like I can hear pretty well. But like
you're like 9 years old and he's all like, I can hear pretty well.
No, like I
can hear well. Oh,
you're making fun of me because I'm Italian. All right, I'm not deaf, but like I don't really care if I can hear all the details, Like I just want to enjoy music. I don't give a crap
to the audiophile.
I don't give a crap if I'm getting close to the way the music is supposed to sound. Like I'm just having fun with it. I listen to it, I love it, I have fun. I'm not just sitting there like, yeah, like look at that. No, that's pretty good. Like you're not enjoying it. You're criticizing. So like people don't have fun. I have fun. So like I don't really care if I listen to every single detail, but if I can tell a difference between products, I'm good as a reviewer. Like I don't need to be 100% perfect because most reviewers lie. So
yeah, well, I look at it as two different kind of scenarios, right? So I do what I consider to be casual listening, and I don't really concern myself about anything other than just enjoying and having fun, right? When I'm casual listening. But then there are times where I do critical listening, right? And that's where I really sit down and focus and try to be able to ascertain the very fine differences between pieces of equipment and that kind of thing. So it's different, right? And when
but you're a reviewer.
Well, yeah.
You work with this.
Sure, but I'm just saying that there are different times and different kinds of listening that you can do, because when I'm critically listening, I'm not there to really enjoy it. I'm like trying to pick it apart. I'm really trying to pay attention, and it's I have to be very engaged when I'm doing it, right? Because I'm thinking about it. When I'm casually listening, I don't, it's just like in the background or whatever, or I'm just having fun or just chilling out or closing my eyes or whatever. But it's kind of a different thing for me when I do critical listening.
I feel like for myself in that regard, like my casual listening is mostly done on headphones. And then when I do listen to my speakers, it is mostly critical listening. I will say, still enjoy that.
Damn, am I by myself? I'm only listen to speakers critically when I'm reviewing, like these ones. I listen to them critically, like them. The other ones, I'm still listening to them to see what's going on. But
I heard this really awesome song earlier today. It went something like,
"Oh no, I'm scared."
By myself, Dan is all by himself.
I am, bro.
I'm still trying to find a song pre-2000s that Daniel likes.
Oh, I found one.
It's
this one. Look, it's. Wait, I was listening to it. The Promise. I promise you. It came out in like 2008. Nah, I still haven't found it. You know that one, like I promise you I will.
No, I don't think so. I think
it's It's by When in Rome.
When in
The
Rome.
Promise. This
I know
song's good. It's your type of music.
There's another
What up,
one
Scotty?
it's like this I promise you. I forget.
Yeah, Ray has a good
I heard one that was like, I promise you.
No, that's not what I listened to.
The body's dropped the floor. I promise you. I heard it at Ray's house. It was
Yeah, that's what I heard at Ray's house.
You're in for a treat the next time you're here, man. I got the
You're making a whole playlist too.
I know. I got the Dismember CD, the Indecent and Obscene.
Oh boy.
Oh,
all
man,
right, so before we
CD.
move on to this next question, I'm just getting past that whole dismembered and obscene instance, whatever.
Please,
Scotty, introduce yourself to the crew so everybody knows who's out there.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Scott Lylander with Audio Acoustic Engineering. I'm an official ambassador for the home entertainment show with this guy up there. And I'm an audiophile. And what that means is I just want to take it to the next level.
Right on. There's a song. Take it to the limit. Next level with Ray. Dun, 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 dun. Next level. Yeah.
bro, you're gonna lose your voice.
Dude, it never gets old. It never gets old. Okay, so Ray Juarez. Thoughts on the difference in going from two SVS PB1000s to two Mini Martys, which I assume is a GSG Mini Marty with 8 10-inch drivers, which is a bass reflex design, and a 16 by 11 room. This is kind of like going from like a Toyota Camry to a Lamborghini. I mean, that it's like there's you can't you can't even compare it. It's like night and day. I mean, it is a significant difference in the amount of bass output and performance that you're going to get. Significant. That's all I've got to say about that. Anybody else want to talk about the Mini Martys?
I don't know what they
Or is this
are.
purely in Jiles' world?
Yeah.
This is Giles' world. I do know what a Marty is, but only from like a video of yours that I watched like 3 years ago.
Yeah. So a Mini Marty or a Marty is a slot ported bass reflex design subwoofer cabinet, right? And the designs came out some number of years ago, and it was for the DIY crowd. And so people would download these schematics and they'd go buy some particle board, well, not particle board, MDF or plywood, and they'd cut it out and glue it together and put their driver in it, and they'd have a big ass subwoofer. It was pretty awesome. GSG now creates the kits. They build them, so they use a CNC machine to cut all this stuff out, and it comes like IKEA style furniture, and it's like a assemble by numbers kind of thing, and you glue it together, and it's really easy. You don't really need a lot of tools. And you can really have a high performing system for a much more reasonable cost than going out and buying two Perlison D215S's, right? Which would cost you like 20 grand or something. 15 grand. And so much lower price point for a lot of performance. All right.
I'm rocking two JL Audio E112s, and I got to say, I love them.
Oh, that's a great subwoofer. I mean, in anything that JL puts out, for the most part, I love. I've been a JL fan since they first released way back in the day. I would like to have what's the top of the line? The Fathoms,
the Gotham,
the Gothams. That's it. Yeah, the Gotham. Oh, ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yes.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And okay, here's the thing. They just sound so good. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, you can't tell the difference in subwoofer sound. And I beg to differ, because when you get the right kind of sub that sounds the right way, to me, it doesn't sound like these PA drivers at all. I mean, it's just got that low sound that kind of just flows through the air and just destroys you. Love it. Just love it. No, those are great subs, man. My hat's off to you on that one. Okay, so we're going back to HiFi 343. He was asking about crossover. So he's running a B&W 800 series bed layer. So in a 5.0 HiFi system. That would be that first number. The ones that sit on the ground are on wall, not the heights. So he's maybe got 5 of those, or 7 of those, or 9 of those, or 11, or just whatever. Dual SVS SB16. So I like the SB choice. So he's doing the sealed rather than the ported. And I'm a big fan of the sealed. And Marantz 8805A and Rotel amps. Yeah. So for this situation, I mean, there's not a lot when you're running kind of at the Marantz level without an external DSP. You know, I would just let Marantz, you know, kind of integrate these in. I mean, okay, first you got to do okay, let me restart. Let me start over. I would absolutely buy external DSP, and I would integrate these subs separately, not using your processor, right? So I would look at like a 2-channel or a 2x4, a mini DSP 2x4 HD, and I would do a full integration on the subs, and then I would use your Marantz to integrate it into the rest of your system. So I think that's going to give you the level of control that you want, especially at this kind of equipment. I mean, this is good stuff. So I would definitely take that next $200 investment and get a microphone and a mini DSP and really work through integration of these subs into your system.
Dang, do you need subs with the 800 series? That's insane.
For sure, you need subs. Absolutely, there's no question. A B&W, there are any standard.
Because we heard the 801s and they're like good.
No, they're not going to do home theater, not at the level that.
Oh, most people here are home theater. That's true.
Yeah, this is totally a home theater setup. So yeah, I would definitely want subs, and I would definitely in his situation integrate them externally with some kind of DSP. All right, New York Grasshopper, and somebody else take this one. If you're looking to buy speakers or headphones, you probably should. Oh, that's not a question.
We're going back to the argument.
Yeah, here's another not a question. What's up, my mail?
What's up?
And then LS60 versus LS50 wireless 2s with a case.
LS60s.
LS60s.
Just go LS60s, bro. Just go LS60s. That's not even a question.
So, but
if you have the money, LS60s.
So let's get a little bit deeper into it and unpack it. So why would you go LS60 instead of the LS50 wireless 2s with the KC62? So what's the thought there?
They're just tuned better. Like if you have the LS50s and then the subwoofers, for you to like make that perfect, like that sound perfect, it's harder. Just get an LS60 and you're done. You got the bass, you got the like you're not missing the hertz. You don't have to position your subwoofers. You just place them there and done. You don't have the problem of placing the subwoofers and then facing the speakers and all that stuff. Just put them there and you're done. And they're way cooler looking.
What's the price differential between LS60 and an LS50 wireless 2 with the KC62 sub?
So it'll be like $5,000 versus $7,000.
Yeah, $7,000 for the 60s. I'm not sure about the other.
I would figure you would get 2 KC62s though.
But like the LS50s are $2,000.
If you wanted to match
22, yeah.
If you want to match, you would have to have 4 KC62s.
Yeah.
Right?
Is the KC62 the same size as the driver on the LS60? I think it's a little smaller. I think the LS60 is a little smaller than the KC.
The LS60 is a little bit smaller. I was just talking about number of drivers.
Yeah.
The KC62 is likely a bit more capable than one of the sets out of the LS50 or the LS60. And if people don't know, the LS60 is really tiny.
Mm-hmm.
It's like tweeter, like 4-inch or something, and then 4 5.25 on the side. And the KC62 is 2 6.5-inch drivers.
But I bet the LS60s, that integration right there, the technology, because they have all amplifiers, all decks, they're controlling everything, so they probably sound amazing. And for you to get that with a separate speaker, separate amplifier, separate deck, separate subwoofers, you're not going to get that integration. The sound that is coming out of the LS60s, you're not. Only if you really know what you're doing. But if you're kind of new to the hobby, I don't know if you can get the same sound.
I would say that your big advantage with the LS60s over the LS50 and external sub is going to be the time alignment and the single apparent acoustical source that you get with the technology that trickled down from the blades. That's really going to be your magic. I mean, they both have meta, and the guts I would assume are pretty similar philosophically between the two. But I agree. I would go LS60s, and if I needed more bass, I would add a sub to that rather than the LS50 W2s with the KC62. That's just me. All right. Just a couple more notes there. Says the measurements on the 60s don't go down quite as low. I would probably agree with that. That seems reasonable. And he's buying them anyway, regardless of what we
Let's
say.
go, man.
Yeah, he's like, yes. And 2K price difference. So you were right on, Dan, right on. And then
Yeah, bro, I know everything about CAF. CAF is like, I live on the CAF website.
right on.
Because I can't buy.
One day. HiFi says he's got a P5 preamp for 2-channel playback with no subs in that situation with the 802 D4 mains and the equivalent center channel. Thanks, guys. No, that's pretty sweet. I'd love to see. I would love to see pictures of all of these people's systems, right? Everybody that's on that, comments, please, drop me a link or something with your photos. I love to look at that stuff. It's pretty cool. All right. So while we wait for some more questions to come in, I want to kind of do a quick roundtable with everybody. So you guys can, so the question was, how can you post pics? Well, you can post them up in any of my Facebook groups and I can grab them from there. And then, all of us can see the stuff and then put it up on Instagram if we want to, that kind of stuff. You can send them to any of us via Instagram if you want to. We're all over the place. So just look for our names and you can send us that stuff.
If you do a video on the LS60s, send me it, bro. Face therapy right there.
You want that flip?
Just waiting for that video for so long.
Fiending for that LS60.
Yeah, dude.
All right, so let's do a quick roundtable for everybody that's here on the show and talk a little bit about what you've got coming up in social media world and what's going to be new for you. And we'll just go around the way that people are oriented on my screen. So bass therapy, Dan, you're first.
Bro, this camera is so annoying. All right, so for me, future plans.
Yeah, what kind of content or stuff can people look forward to?
More videos. I want to start doing reviews, start talking to companies, start getting connections because right now I don't have any. So that sucks. But I'm still learning how to do that. Like HiFi girls kind of teaching me the ways. And yeah, I want to start doing more reviews, like actually do real reviews, talk about how the product really sounds because I've been looking at reviews and what the community's saying, and there's a lot of discrepancies. Let's use that word. So like if you want to buy a product, watch the review, then listen to what the community's saying about it because there's a lot of I was surprised in how many people you can't trust on reviews. And so I want to be honest on my stuff. And yeah, that's it. Just get more into it.
Cool. What about you, Ray? HiFi Turtle.
I don't have too much on the horizon. I got to go out there and seek it out. I want to revisit the bar talk after the latest 2.0 software announcement, see what that's going on. I got to check out some other hardware. I've got what could be the next pair of speakers for me.
The
confidence? The confidence?
Replacing the Focal?
Oh man, I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. But I mean, that's further down the line because I'm broke anyway. But
that's exciting, man. That's cool to hear.
We'll see. So there might be a mystery reveal there, but there are things in between the HiFi that are that they're called life, and that's what I've got mostly going on right now. But I'm also interested in what Scotty's got behind him, the name Unity.
Yeah, I can see that Unity back there. It's looking good. What about you, Scott?
For me, it's really about consistency and growth. I'm going to be consistent in Friday night IGTV lives. Definitely want to tune in there at Audio Acoustic Engineering. We just talk about good vibes and high fidelity, and we talk about what's been going on in the journey every week, because every week is something different, whether it's new music or a new piece of gear that's coming in, or it's a new friendship that we made. We just like to talk about that and bring people on the show and tune in with THG after. And it's always a fun time. So going to continue with that, going to continue posting on Instagram. I love that stuff. And really just finding ways to exposure, to find new stuff. And I have a very special relationship with the people down at the Audio Room in Calgary, Alberta. And that's where the name Unity Atom came from. And they're just like, yeah, go ahead and try it out. So I was able to bring it over, bring it home, and I really don't want to bring it back.
Yeah, that's really cool. I made some contacts over at Name and Focal, and I'm hoping to have them on the show at some point. And down the road later this year, I'd love to get a few pieces of equipment to take a look at. But I love those pieces of gear. I mean, that stuff is just amazing. And what's their big monster amp called? Does anybody remember?
Statement.
Oh,
the
God.
SG1 and SC1.
It's the S1 and P1, but altogether it's a statement.
It is a statement.
He knows.
Gosh,
300 grand, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that,
But
a boy can dream.
For $5,000, this amp gets you into the name ballpark. And for me, it just what it's done to the stereo here, it's amazing. I don't want to give it back. I want to join the name cult.
So that's an integrated streamer, right? So
Yes.
It does everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's super cool. That's very cool. All right, so moving on to moi. There's a ton of stuff going on as always. So Scott and I and Dan, but not Ray, will be at the home entertainment show in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be exciting. So it's not this weekend, but it's the next weekend. And then outside of that, there's the weekly show. Personally, I'm remodeling and I'm pulling everything apart. And we're going to turn this into a huge computer room for the entire family to be productive. I've got the second M&K subwoofer video coming out here pretty soon. I'm going to do some stuff with Andover and get that going. I'm going to do a Trinov and Kaleidoscape kit review. So the new stuff out from those guys, and that's going to be outstanding, because that's that, as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of the brass ring. I mean, that's you're getting up into the very top end for home theater at that point. And I'm curious to see what it would sound like compared to the kit that I've got now, which I think is absolutely superb. It's really good. Sounds really, really good. So I'm curious to see the difference there. The Trinov stuff has a lot more bells and whistles. But is it worth it? I don't know. That's coming. I'm going to do the SMSL amp and headphone amplifier and DAC. That'll be interesting. That'll be fun. Gosh, the Andover stuff is going to be the first record player I've ever had. I've never had a record player in my whole life. Never. So that's kind of crazy. I don't know. There's a stack of stuff that I need to open up and review as well. So I'll get around to those things at some point.
Get excited to spend a lot of money on records.
I'm not. I have one album, and that's all I'll ever need. I'm a big I know my limitations in physical media. I limit myself to books, right? So everything else has to be digital, not streaming necessarily. Like movies, you can't get really, really good quality streaming, so you have to do Kaleidoscape, right? Or you can do rips and that kind of stuff, but that still involves buying the movie physically and then ripping it. So I've completely moved to Kaleidoscape there. From a music point of view, though, I am absolutely happy streaming with streaming quality at 44.1 or higher, right? For me, I'm in my happy spot for any of that kind of stuff, and that's a big argument and conversation that folks can have at some point if they want to. But we have a question from the bucket of wisdom. We need to fill his bucket with wisdom. I feel like that's what we're doing here. So he or she says, I'm considering buying some Martin Logan electrostatic speakers, possibly the ESL 11s. What are your opinions on electrostats? Anybody have thoughts?
They're super cool. We heard them at Expona. Bro, they're fire. Those are good.
I like the electrostats a lot, but I will say that the smaller Martin Logans, they do have a little bit of a limited sweet spot.
Yeah, that is the common complaint with the smaller Martin Logan speakers, is that you get to be one person to enjoy it the best, right? For the most part. Now I've heard the monoliths from those guys, and I moved around quite a bit, and it was pretty freaking rocking. But that's a whole different.
That's a whole different monster.
Yeah, I mean that
will fill a room. The first I heard those in a gigantic showroom, like open-ended, over 100,000 square foot showroom. That's like doesn't have any doors or closed off areas, and I mean they pressurized that entire area. And there was no bad seats in the house.
Yeah, they're ridiculously good, ridiculously expensive, and ridiculously huge.
Yeah,
I mean you have to have a exceptional space to put them in, if that makes sense, right? You're not going to put them in a 14 by 14 bedroom.
Weirdly, I did hear them in a very small space, and I thought that they weren't very good. But I imagine that's because they pretty much were like in a 14 by 14 bedroom in that instance.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Any other comments on this one before we move on? All right. So the next question is, speaking of Kaleidoscape, is it that much better than UHD? All right. So we're mixing terms up just a little bit, right? Because UHD, that means ultra high definition, and at a basic level, that just means 4K, right? So it doesn't really get into bit rate and color depth, a little bit, but you can have UHD and you can watch it on physical media, Blu-ray disc. You can stream 4K, and you can have 4K on Kaleidoscape. So Kaleidoscape isn't better than UHD. It can reproduce 4K content. In general, though, Kaleidoscape is the avenue that gives you the best possible content from a movie point of view, right? So I think it's very obvious to everyone that streaming is a lower level of quality than you get on 4K Blu-ray disc. And then Kaleidoscape is a very minor upgrade from 4K disc, because they don't have a file size limitation that you find with physical media. So if you have a long movie, they don't have to compress to get it to fit on a disc. You can have a big old file. So it is possible to have a slightly higher level of quality with Kaleidoscape than 4K Blu-ray. Is it noticeable or something that you can perceive? I can't really. I mean, when I watch them, it's like, that's the same. But if you watch the streaming version, you're like, oh, this stuff's way better. I'm bougie, so I have Kaleidoscape. But that's just because I'm bougie.
Freaky Jiles.
I'm bougie. Yeah, I have the best haircuts.
The owner did a really good podcast on Kaleidoscape, and he talked about that upsampling and the compression loss. And so what you were talking about there sort of rang a bell from a podcast I watched 6 months ago.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the owner. That's cool. I'll have to go look up the owner and check it out. That's a new one for me. So he says UHD Blu-ray. Sorry, I have an LG G2. Well, I noticed a difference at highest quality for both media. Well, like I said, I don't think you can really tell much difference, no matter what your display device is, really, between Kaleidoscape and 4K. But you can. It is empirically true that Kaleidoscape can give you more information than you can get on a disc. So that's absolutely true. I don't know where the rubber meets the road if there's a lot of difference, but you get the convenience too, though. It's so easy with Kaleidoscape. Just go on and click, I want this movie, and then bam, it's there. It downloads, and I can watch it whenever I want to, you know. I don't have to go to the store. I don't have to order it. I don't have to worry about my disc getting scratched or lost, or the kids playing with it, or me putting it in the wrong place, or it being stored away. I don't want to watch this thing, so I got to, all that pain in the butt kind of stuff goes by the wayside. Oh, all right. We are winding down now, and if there are any other questions, folks, please get them in right about now. Otherwise, I think we're gonna kill this thing with a few closing words. Ray, anything from your point of view? Anything you want to say to the people before you peace out tonight?
Follow me on Instagram, HiFi Turtle. Subscribe to me on YouTube, HiFi Turtle. Do something that makes me some money.
Shameless self-promotion. I love it.
I won't be at the show, but I'll be in Denver, maybe, if it doesn't fall on my wedding anniversary.
Yeah, the rumors of them going out of business are just started by folks that have sour grapes because they can't afford it. That they're not going anywhere. They're very well funded. They have a good positive cash flow, and they're in really good shape. So anybody talking about that's just a hater. And as I say, if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right.
Wasn't it like Onkyo going out of business, and then Klipsch was like, "Nah, we bought him. They're chill." It's like Onkyo or Denon, something like that.
Klipsch's parent company, AudioVox, right?
Not the AudioVox.
Vox International.
That, yes.
Yes. Klipsch's parent company, Vox International, owns the high-end AVR part of Onkyo, and then there's another part of Onkyo that does totally something else now, and that part is the part that's going out of business. The Onkyo that still exists under Vox International that makes all the audio equipment for the most part is still in business, still going to continue. But because it's licensed by and not true Onkyo or a division of Onkyo or some weird business technical mojo, that Onkyo is going out of business, but Onkyo, it's Onkyo is dead, long live Onkyo.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a company called 11 Trading Company, and they're the distributor in the United States, and they distribute Onkyo, Pioneer, Elite, a handful of others that I can't remember. So yeah, there's no concerns around the Onkyo that most people are familiar with here in the United States. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dan, anything from your point of view, last words for the evening?
Follow Bass Therapy on Instagram. I don't do YouTube. I don't like this platform, but I'm glad it's working great for Home Theater Fanatics. Ray, I don't know if somebody does it. I hate it. Instagram is the future, so follow me there. I post every day. We just hit 52,000. Bro, I made 2,000 followers in the last 2 days.
Gosh, I wish my Instagram could have that level of performance. If I had someone that was smart and knew Instagram that could help me grow, I would pay them.
No, you wouldn't pay them.
I would pay them to help me, but we'll move on. So, Scotty, what about you? Any final closing words?
No, I just want to say thanks for inviting me on today, and I'll just close with some of the music that we got. I know that it's a streaming amplifier, but I do have some CDs. We got Nirvana and Incesticide here. We got Metric, Live It Out Loud, and we have got the best of Pantera. So
nice.
I've been cranking that here, and it's been good music.
That's very cool. Awesome. And then for me, I just want to say thanks to you guys for coming on the show. Everybody out there that's watched, I appreciate it. So thank you for your time. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.